Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back in my garage. You ever dealt with one of these things? It's a linkage piece for a Ford AOD GM 200 R4. I think the 4L60 and probably a number of other transmissions. And what it does is it provides a point to put the cable that controls your shifting. And this goes on the carburetor. And this point is where your cable attaches to. And it's supposed to, and that's the key word, it's supposed to give you the proper geometry to make your transmission work. You can find instructions online. This says it's from Sonax Performance. The instructions that came with this thing actually came with this package of things. You couldn't read them, not a bit. They were printed once and then the paper shifted about a 36th of an inch and it was printed again. So all the words were total blurs. But I did find it online. And I do have it on the green truck over there. But I have it done differently. So I want to show you that. Then we'll talk about everything that's in this package, that one right there, and how to make it all work right, or how I make it work right. All right, I'm gonna take you to the truck. Oh, and don't overheat in here. Just because it's 88 degrees in here and 106 outside, that's no reason to overheat. All right, we're over at the truck, obviously. Hey, what have you guys been up to lately? I've been all over. Let's see. We got to move some stuff around. Put you over here for a minute. Hey. All right. Hey, my wife got me this cool tray. You ever seen one of those? It's when you're working on your engine and you're taking the valves and the rocker arms and all that stuff out. Your lifters will sit in these holes. Your rockers can sit in these holes. Your valves can stick up in these, and it's labeled intake, or right and left, front and rear, and it's labeled for what you're putting in them. That's really cool. Keeps everything organized so that those lifters can go back on that camshaft exactly where they came from. Gotta get my big old wheels are locked. There we go. Gotta get my big old creeper out here to get up in that truck. Get that around here where we can see what we're doing. Lock the wheels because it has a tendency to roll away. And let's get the air cleaner off. I'll position you a little closer here. We need to get some lights under there. I really like these magnetic lights for the purpose of being able to just stick them up on the hood and get some light on what I'm doing. Let's get this air cleaner off. Probably should put a fender protector over here too. Oh. I'm going to take you off here and bring you around so you can see what I'm seeing. Oh, and I hope you guys haven't fallen for the Aces fuel injection trap yet. You know, I don't know about any of their other systems, but even their newer kill shots and their kill shot whatever with the they made a Sniper 2 clone. They put the ECU back into the throttle body like the Sniper has, so that's an exact copy of their architecture. Certainly the software is not, but let's look at this one. So I'm still using it and I'm still fighting it, and the main 100% inherent problem in this throttle body is where they put the injectors, where they inject into the throttle bores. I think that's why there's such a lag, such a lean spot every time you hit the throttle. I've turned all the adjustments, acceleration versus TPS, manifold atmospheric pressure versus TPS versus temperature, all of them up, and that lean bog does not go away. I can get it drivable, it's absolutely drivable, but anyway, back to what we were talking about. Here's that lever that we were talking about. This is one I made, and it has the pivot point. This is your transmission adjustment cable. It comes back over here into this bracket and then loops around and goes down to the transmission. And the reason this cable connection is not down here where the other one is, let me go grab the other one and compare them side by side. All right, here we are. Now this is the one they send you in a package, and can you see that? If it bolts on in the same location, its connector is a ½ an inch lower than the connector I currently have. So why did I do that? And the reason I did that is because the throttle here that's on the kill shot moves further, pivots further than that cable that controls the transmission will allow. It brings the cable to a full stop before the kill shot is at full throttle. Now that's probably not a bad thing, since I wouldn't trust that kill shot at full throttle to deliver the proper gasoline metering, but I need it. I like to have full throttle, and by moving the position further up, it made this position move less when it pivots like this. Can you see that? If this is the pivot point, that didn't work. If this is the pivot point where I have my fingers, by moving this up, it shortens the distance it's going to move, and that shortens the pull on the cable, and that gives me full throttle. So you think, now what's the problem then? It seems good. Well, the problem is that I don't have enough transmission pressure, line pressure at low RPM when I don't have the throttle open very far to make it shift properly. So there is the conundrum. Either I have full throttle or I have proper shifting at low speeds. It'll do fine at full throttle. When you hit full throttle, it does its downshift. It works great. It does what it's supposed to do. Downshifts, goes fast, all that thing. But the way your transmission should be set up normally is that you have low line pressure at idle, and then it goes up as your throttle moves. Well, this is going up too slow, and that's no good. It shifts for my AOD, and it could be different for the Chevys or other transmissions, but for my AOD, it shifts too early. I want to extend that shift out a bit, and there is a shift kit in it. It will extend the shift out a long ways. It's a performance kit. But we need to make it so I can get full throttle and proper line pressure at a low RPM. So how do we do that? And that's where this other kit comes in. And that constant hum you hear is my air conditioner, because it is freaking hot in here. All right, let's take a look at this other kit. It's down here. This kit contains some other pieces in it. This you can order separately. Now we can see that the pivot point is in the exact same place, so we're going to have the exact same problem. But this is going to fix it. I hope. tiny spring and a small plastic keeper. This keeper is going to drop over that cable, the cable that's sticking out of the end of the throttle. We'll see it over there, or out of the end of the transmission control cable. The spring, I found it. The spring will fit over that cable. This will drop into the cable through that slot right there. Can you see that slot? And sit inside the spring like that. That is going to allow me to pull that cable further out, increasing line pressure. And then when I go to full throttle and that cable stops moving, the transmission controls, I will still have whatever distance the spring will compress, half an inch probably, to move the throttle. So we will get more line pressure to start, and we will get more throttle travel with the spring in there. So that is my intent, and I may end up using this. In fact, I'll probably try what's on there first, then I'll try this one and see which one gives me the best line pressure, actually the best shifting, because I've taken the line pressure gauge I was using when I first built this was stuck in a port on the transmission that I now have my temperature gauge, my transmission temperatures port stuck into. So we can't use that port any longer, but I'll know by just how it shifts. We'll get some good firm shifts. I want that first gear shift to extend out. I want it to be about 15, 20 miles an hour shift. I want that second gear to hold on to above that. And this is with the giving it some gas. If you just barely accelerate, they're gonna shift fairly quick. But you'll see when we're driving. So let me go over to the truck. We'll put this on, we'll look how that works, and we'll go from there. Okay, I think I got you guys looking right down at it. Now, if you read the manuals and things on doing these, you will see that they have you use a little tool like this one, and you are supposed to pull out your cable to a certain point that the tool will then fit over the cable. Can you see that? And hold that in place. And that is your zero starting point. There should be tension on here, but when you release this, there should be no tension. So I would pull that out and there should be no tension on here. But you can see that there is still tension on mine. And that is because just using that adjustment tool to set it did not result in the proper shifting. It resulted in very, very early shifting and slipping. So, but what I do know is that in this position right here, and I'm going to mark this cable right there, I know that I get a pretty decent shift right at first, but it shifts just a little too early. So I know that I want it out just a little bit more than that. So if we install that spring system right here right now, it's going to pull it way out here. That's going to be too far. But we'll show you how we're going to fix that. First, I got to make sure that my spring will fit over the end of my cable. If it doesn't, then we're just dead in the water. But it does, so that is a very good thing. Now we're going to pull that cable out and clamp it so that it doesn't get away. So it's a double vice grip kind of thing. One to pull it out, one to hold it. You probably just see my hand in the way, but I'll show you what I've done once it's all the way out. Once I tighten my vice grips enough. Well, let's try that. All right, there you can see the vice grips is keeping the spring or the throttle valve cable from being retracted. And we're going to put this over that throttle valve cable. And I may not have quite enough to get the plastic piece on. See, I need to get this plastic piece on there, and I don't quite have enough cable. I might be able to slide it under there. Let's see if we can get that done. That'll save us an extra adjustment. Yes, there we go. Okay, you can see the plastic piece is on here, the spring is on here. I can release that. Okay, but now you can actually see that it's pulled too tight. That is just a little too tight. We don't want it quite that tight. I'd also like this plastic piece to sit in the center a little better, center itself, but it's not. But what I do now is I'm going to adjust this piece, and it will allow me to get that black mark I make back out. So how do we adjust this? We have to lift the lock, which is this piece right here. There it comes up. It comes up a little further than that. So I'm going to use my plastic pry tool here and see if I can get it up. There we go. I believe that's up all the way. Yes. Now the cable, get my hand in here, I think, below it, can be pushed in. See this? And right up to that black mark I made right there. So I want this cable so that that black mark sits right about there. It's just a tiny bit tighter than it was when we started, and that's fine because I want that shift point to be just a little bit later. So to put it in place, you simply push the lock back down. Now it's going to hold it right there. So we have our starting position just a little bit tighter than it previously was, and we should be able to get almost all full throttle by the time that spring is compressed. So that's what we're going to check now. And we can watch this to see if it contacts right there. And that's full throttle. If it doesn't, we've got to adjust our cable a little bit to give us that throttle. Now there's full throttle. And I have full, can you see it around my finger? Full spring compression. See if I can pull it out anymore. Nope. So that throttle valve down there in the transmission is at its full stop position. And when I return, I'm right where I want to be. And the throttle's all the way down. So this should provide proper shifting and full throttle by compressing this spot, this right here. So we should have fixed our problem. That's a win if it shifts right. So now it would be time to go out and drive. But it's 100 and something degrees outside. So oh boy, without air conditioning, that's going to be hot. Maybe that's a job for this week, for this evening. Well, good morning everybody. We didn't get the truck out last night. It was just too warm the whole night. Didn't cool down below 90 till late last night. Right now we're cooking along at about 82. It's 8:30 in the morning or somewhere in that. How'd that get in here? Or somewhere in that range. So let's give this a go. Find out how that transmission's shifting. There's a gnat flying around in here in case you see it go in front of things. Still rolling over longer than I want before it fires up. I'm slowly but surely increasing the cranking fuel so that it injects a little more into it. But yeah, that's what it is. Parking brake off. pretty tight fit here. Oh, sorry, I didn't clean the windshield. There's some bug splats on it. All right, we got about 2 miles here of street driving, and then the real test will be when we try to go out the on-ramp to the freeway. That shifted at 1400 RPM. I'm just really light on the throttle, so that's first to second at 1400 RPM. I gave it a little gas and it shifted right away, so you may have some adjustment left to do. And sometimes it takes 2 or 3 tries to get that right where we want it. But we'll find out. It'll be a little noisy. No air conditioning, so I have the window open and I have the cowl vent open. That brings in a lot of air. That's really nice. All blows down on your feet, cools them off. And we got road construction. Also, we can see another issue that I have, and that is my RPMs. I've got it set for 825 RPM. It's idling at 920-ish. And it's not that it's cold, it's up to temp. 84 degrees Celsius was. 82, somewhere right in that range. That's about 170 something or so Fahrenheit. Alright, I'm going to enter this on-ramp slowly because the people in front of me are just slower than crap. Alright, a little bit of gas, let's see what it does. Okay, it only extended that shift out to 2300 RPM. I'd have liked it to have gone to 27 or so. But it's a third gear shift in overdrive that really needs to extend. Alright, I did that at 22, so we do need a little more line pressure. I'll take the next exit. Go back home, adjust a little bit, and try again. You see our trailer on this side. We've been doing a lot of camping, trying to get away from the stress of building the house, which she hasn't even started yet. Just getting permits still. But anyway, we're back in the garage. Awesome. About 90 degrees centigrade. That's about 190-ish Fahrenheit. And we'll let the truck cool down before we adjust that under the hood. I'll show you that in a minute. Okay, we're gonna try to adjust that a little bit, and I just got you really close here because I wanted to give you a really good view of what's happening. So the first thing I always do is I mark the cable. I kind of get, this is so I can see where that I've actually made an adjustment. Looks like I got more on that little plastic piece than I did the cable, but now once again, this piece right here is what we need to pull up, and then this will slide in and out of this body. And there's a spring back here that makes that happen. Actually, as soon as you pull this up, it tries to retract sometimes. And I can mark the cable. You can also see there's silver marks here. Kind of my hand is blocking the light, but now you can see the silver marks. And I'm going to add a silver mark here too. This will tell me how far out I have this, and the black mark will tell me how far in or out I have the cable. And the further back I bring this, the tighter the cable becomes. So let me get my silver marker and do that too. Okay, now we have two reference points. We have the black mark on the cable. Get my hand in the way every time. The black mark on the cable and the silver mark right here. And what I'm going to do is bring this back just slightly. I'm going to bring this silver mark partially into the body. It doesn't have to go very far to make a big difference. So no more than the width of this mark, and maybe even just halfway. I'm going to move one of these lights so I don't keep blocking your light with my hand. All right, we're going to come down here, and there's some gaps right here, some little notches. That's where I start my lift. And I can get it on this side as well. And I just pry up on that, on this piece. Now it comes up more than that, and that's when I switch to my my plastic tool to get it up the rest of the way. And I saw this move. Did you see it jump in? So that moved further than we wanted, and I can push it back. There's a spring back here. I know you can't see it well, but there is a spring right here. So let's push this in till we find our mark again. There it was. That's where it was. So we're going to pull it back right about there. That's just one, probably tooth. And then we shove this down in, and we can still see just a little bit of our mark, but we have tightened up the cable, and there is a little bit of silver right opposite my tool here that shows that the cable came out a little bit more. So we have tightened this cable just slightly. And if that's not enough, we're just going to do this again. We'll take it out for a drive. If that's not enough, I'll pull this up, I'll move it till that mark is gone, or just right inside, and we'll try it again. And we just keep doing that until we get it right. That's all there should be to it. Well, the truck is getting dialed in. We've got a few things to adjust on it still. We got to get the idle down. And I think that's a timing problem right now, because the timing is supposed to help adjust the idle speed, and it should lower the timing to lower the idle speed if it's not meeting its target. And that is not happening. I noticed the timing was staying at 15, 16. And I've adjusted that setting so it should be more aggressive, but it's still not happening, which is kind of par for the course for ACEs. But we need to get that idle to speed down. We need to get it to shift properly. And we need to get the lean acceleration bog out of it. You don't feel it when I'm driving, but you can see it when you data log. It goes really lean. There's a lean spike and then it goes away. But we're getting close. Transmission adjustment a little bit. We're almost perfect. And I think we will be after this adjustment. So once all those are done, maybe air conditioning will come. But that's for another day. Future Ken problem. Till then, everybody get out there, work on your stuff, drive it, have fun, and be good to each other. I'll see you guys later.